All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Shams93 back to the show. Here it goes. Someone broke their neck today. I can't say I didn't feel it. Turn. Bladder full. Look behind on the floor. Halo of blood. Floor dirty anyway. Resume the afternoon. My, how May has come. Far stars where you come from. The Milky Way, lady. Choco Milky Way. In this hothouse of hormones, shrieking blamelessly, in the rodeo jazz pestered afternoon, and the sun shines on the flagstones with their natural stagger. How come is May, Amsterdam, afternoon, Orangina between us glitters, sweaters sweat theater between us. But I think of the eye, and still, and sit singly in the how has come May afternoon. Never been nowhere jazz ever stopped. Amsterdam assholery aside, city of lost children. Nonetheless, backyard bearing dead songbird. Not kingfisher, perhaps. Of solar cloudbursts, raining and all. Leather and firearm just out of reach. Not wanting to escape justice
its own umbrella, falling down, covering itself with itself, drying sunshine as its own kindness, falling down, rain that is, covering itself with itself and everything else, penetrating even the finest vibrations of nuclear anxiety, covering itself with itself and everything else, penetrating even the finest vibrations with itself and everything else, penetrating even the finest vibrations of nuclear anxiety. Shine, of course. Gamma, delta, earth, water, fire, air, penetrating even the finest vibrations of nuclear anxiety, covering itself with itself. Rain, that is, falling down. Gamma, delta, earth, water, fire, air, humorous, straightening all circles, circling all lines of nuclear anxiety, even the finest penetrations. Shine, of course, straightening all circles, circling all lines, scheduling your inspiration. Gamma, delta, earth, water, fire, air, falling down, covering itself with itself and everything else, scheduling your inspiration, straightening all circles, circling all lines like bedpans and low pressure fronts, scheduling your inspiration, the death of water, gamma, delta, earth, water, fire, humorous, straightening all circles, circling all lines, scheduling your inspiration. The death of water allows the spirit to fly. Pneuma, penetrating even the finest vibrations. Pneuma, covering itself with itself and everything else, like bedpans and low pressure fronts, straightening all circles, circling all lines, gone etheric for a moment. The death of water allows the spirit to fly. Gone etheric for a moment, circling all lines, straightening all circles, humorous, quintessentially elemental, gone etheric for a moment, scheduling your inspiration, penetrating even the finest vibrations, vibrating even the finest penetrations, covering itself with itself. The death of water allows the spirit to fly, scheduling. Quintessentially elemental, gone etheric for a moment. Quintessentially elemental, gone etheric for a moment. Progress for all subjects, circling all lines, given to ontology, gone etheric for a moment. The death of water allows the spirit to fly. covering itself with everything else, given to ontology, quintessentially elemental, for a moment, flying, progress for all subjects, gone etheric for a moment, straightening all circles, circling all lines, gone etheric for a moment. For a moment, flying, and a flash of divine turbulence. The depth of water allows the spirit to fly. For a moment, and a flash of divine given to ontology, straightening all circles, circling all lines, for a moment, flying, and a flash of divine, for a moment, gone etheric, and a flash of divine, for a moment. Turbulence, and a flash of divine. Turbulence, and a flash of divine. For a moment, turbulence. Then the call, and a flash, for a moment, flying, gone etheric, for a moment, flying, the depth of water allows the spirit fly. Turbulence. Then the call, and a flash of divine. Turbulence. Then the call of gravity. Call, and a flash of divine. Turbulence. Then the call of divine. Turbulence. Then the call of gravity. Call. For a moment, a flash. Turbulence. Then the call of divine. Gravity's call. For a moment, flying. Turbulence. And the slow splintering. Then the call. And a flash of divine. Turbulence, and the slow splintering. Turbulence, then the call of gravity. Call, and the slow splintering of everything. Then the call of gravity. Turbulence, and the slow splinter of everything on its way, splinter everything, and the slow splintering of everything, on its way splintering, everything, on its way and a flash, everything, then the call of everything, everything, and the slow splintering of everything, and a flash of everything, everything, then the call of everything, splintering, and the slow everything, splintering, and a moment everything, splintering, the depth of everything, splintering, a flash of divine, splintering, and the slow splintering on its way of everything, on its way, then the call of everything, splintering, on its way everything, splintering, to the way everything, splintering, for a moment divine, splintering, for a moment everything, splintering, on its way everything, splintering, and the slow divine, splintering, on its way everything, on its way, and the flash of divine, on its way, and divine way of everything, on its way to the slow, everything, on its way to the slow way, and a flash of the way, everything, of everything, on its way, and the slow way of everything, on its way to the sea, everything, and a flash of the sea, turbulence, everything on its way, turbulence, then the call of the sea, everything, then the call of the sea, turbulence, for a moment the sea, everything, and a flash of the sea, everything, on its way to the sea.
fucking unbelievable, you guys. You just heard Shams93. That was their second performance here on the Open Window Show. What do you think, Steve? Come here. So basically what we're doing here is we're going to have another act. After this, we're going to have Oscillator play. So what we'll do is we'll create a little path here so he can set up. Wow. Did that thing just replay? That was incredible. Hey, Steve, jump on the mic. I got to hear your reaction. Because I saw you with the headphones and you had your head down and you just had your eyes closed and you were like really concentrating. Chuck, that was incredible. You guys, Dino, you weren't here last time that you guys played. So it's a three-piece now.
It was incredible. Oh, right, I was just listening and yeah. I got a flash in images of Lou Reed for a moment.
Oh, what made you think of Lou Reed?
I don't know. It just kind of took me back there.
What's interesting is you got three elements here. You've got the electric oud, you got electric guitar, and then you have the spoken word element.
I think that's where Lou came in, because Lou is kind of, for me anyway, he's kind of poetic.
Maybe because he's kind of like the poetry reminded you of Lou Reed? Or?
Yeah, it's the way you're pronouncing your words, but still. It was a different direction.
Yeah, the words were different this time, Chuck.
What's that?
The words were a little different this time.
Yeah, I just grabbed a couple of pages and started going.
Talking to that one there.
Oh, I just grabbed a couple of pages and started going. What the hell,
that's some stuff you've written and you kind of riff on it. Is that how it goes?
Yeah, I guess so for this. I mean, I've just been going with what feels good, With this, I just bring a bunch of papers, and this time I brought a little book, and I didn't know what I was going to do,
Really? So there was a lot of improv tonight then.
Yeah, and then just, I don't know, that one felt like a nice repeating motif type thing where I just kind of spun around with it a little bit.
Yeah, it really worked, Steve.
It did work.
Yeah.
It did work.
Because you guys played here early March, and we got you back.
Well, the riffing was awesome.
We got you to commit.
Awesome.
Dude, because, the thing is you weren't there, but I saw these guys play together out in the desert last week.
That's right. Yeah, I couldn't make that.
And that was something else. Steve was there.
Oh, yeah, it was a weekend, man. That was a weekend. Shit, man.
I was thinking about you guys all weekend. Next time.
Yeah, next time. A couple other people couldn't make it, but the next time they'll make it. But so I really like the fact that you have this electric guitar element. Hey, Dino, step up to the mic for a second.
Yeah.
What's up?
Introduce yourself. It's good to have you in the
Yes, it's good
studio
to be here. This is an interesting, nice up in the air, cool spot up here.
So how long you been playing with Brian?
Brian, on and off. Well, we met a long time ago, like 10 years ago, and then we did some shows back in those days and stuff.
So you guys have been playing together for years, or off
On
and on?
kind of? Yeah, off and on. And then of course, you saw us at the desert. That was our first thing recently.
Right.
But we jammed it quite a bit, like just in my place, just doing the oud and the guitar, and then
So
I decided to make up some loops to go play over.
So what's your background with guitar? I mean, it just sounds a little different from what I'm used to hearing.
Well, I like a lot of chimey stuff. Like I grew up on the Cure, they're very chimey.
Love that, yeah.
Stuff. So that's a lot of that's
effects on the guitar and everything.
I like that kind of shimmery sound, and I thought, okay, that gives it a very droning element to it.
Definitely.
So for me, coming from India, I like try to think of like the tambura and those kind of droning things. And
so you have a background in Indian traditional music? Indian classical?
I've never got trained or anything. But I mean, I understand that droning thing. Like I naturally would make things with drones in them, and I guess it's DNA or something.
Yeah. Well, it's good. It really works well with the electric oud, the stuff that Brian was playing.
Yeah, because see, the thing is that there's like certain parts of the guitar where if I'm doing like a chiming thing, like he's gonna do like a more lower thing. So we're trying to make sure that places in the areas of the register that they come in don't clash too much. Yeah, the oud really has a bass sound to it. I mean, it's really kind of the bass instrument, and it has the higher. What do you think? Step up, Brian. Because every time I hear you play, you impress me because you've improved since the last time.
Dino's got a special ear, so it's like I've tried to play with other people, and they want to put it in like a really messed up context, like a pop song or something, and the oud's not going to work. But when you get musicians who play Western instruments and then like a bend their instrument to fit the maqam and that feel and stuff, then it can work together.
So is what we just heard, is that maqam? I mean, is that...
Yeah, that was all in D, and then we have like the drone going and the computer stuff, but then basically like the stuff I was playing, that was like it's like a I modulate between a couple of different maqams, so and then I throw in weird chromatic stuff. So
I have no idea what he's doing, by the way.
but yet you guys play so well together. That's kind of surprising to hear that. But
well, I mean, I haven't studied those scales like that, but I'm used to microtonal scales and stuff from the Indian music thing. So
right.
So I kind of know like chord-wise what to do to keep it like vague enough to where if he's gonna do, it'll let him do a lot of stuff.
Let's make sure we have some room so Oscillator can come through while we talk. But what's interesting is the fact that you're playing electric oud. I've seen you play acoustic oud too, but I really, really dig it when you play the electric, because you've got some effects on there, but then sometimes you cut them off and you just kind of go more direct. And
there's one guy in there's one guy in France, this Wadi Hadab guy who plays electric oud, and he plays he made it himself, and he put the piezo pickup in there, and it's like a whole homemade thing. And it goes through Marshall half stack and everything, and it's just completely insane.
Well, because I had you playing through a Mesa Boogie tonight.
Yeah,
so
the Mesa Boogie. Every time it goes through tubes, it sounds.
It's just it really there's something natural about that, because I really like I prefer to hear an electric violin over an acoustic. I don't know, it's just me.
It sounds really good with distortion, right? I mean,
it a little bit, not too much.
It gets it harnesses distortion really well.
It's just
if you put too much distortion, I was using line. I mean, I'm not going to put down line 6. But
well, it's okay. We got gearheads listening. We want to discuss it.
Line 6 was like a little too muddy. Well, it's the old version. It's just when a lot of virtual modeling stuff is designed for guitar, and so when you put it on oud, it can sound really bad.
What specifically? Why?
It's expecting steel strings, and so if you have piezo nylon strings, usually nobody considers that scenario.
That's why the distortion works well, because of that different kind of string.
Yeah, so the models on the Zoom, this is I don't want to mention brand and stuff, but it's I was broke and I needed a fucking pedal.
He doesn't work there, by the way.
Yeah, I don't
Guitar
work for
Center
anybody.
or what?
I don't work for
Evil Empire.
Kind of things. Yeah,
but you supported them. You went and bought something from them. Oh well.
Yeah. Oh no,
I'll
not
forgive
Guitar
you.
Center, CM Ash.
Oh god. Okay, well it's not as bad, but the service is worse. But oh well.
Well, this guy was cool though. It was J.Q. Lee's cousin. It was
oh
in the
my
band.
Lord. There's a whole legion of those guys in Los Angeles. If anyone's listening and hasn't walked around Hollywood Boulevard ever, it's there's legions of. First of all, you have the Swedish tourists that end up right in that spot, but then you have legions of these guys from Europe or from Japan, has a guitar and an Iron Maiden shirt.
And back in the 80s, they were all 21 years old, and they were cool and stuff. And now they're all 58 years old, and they're still think that they're.
But there's
cool.
still legions of 21-year-olds that flock here for that Musicians Institute.
Oh yeah, you still see those kids that are trying to follow the footsteps.
But
you have to go look at the 58-year-olds and see if they really want to follow that career path.
Well, I feel bad for those guys that have to work retail and have to deal with that, do the bro thing and all that.
Some people can keep it up, though. Lemmy from Motorhead is basically that, but he made a profession and a career out of it and stuff. And at one point, I was deluded that I thought he friended me on Facebook, but I think it was a fake profile.
Oh,
it was his uncle.
But it was exciting for 2 days. Lemmy friended me. Will I die hanging out with him?
So let me ask you one at a time. Brian, so when you're at home, what do you listen to?
Oh, gosh. What do I listen to?
Dubstep?
Well, I was going on the Webalizer, and I was taking everything.
He does
or the
listen
Web
to dubstep,
Machine,
really.
yeah.
That's the
it's
sad
not
part.
really dubstep. It's actually the Web Machine. So you take everything that shouldn't ever go into the Web Machine. You take Pat Robertson, throw it into the Web Machine, then you get something. And then you take
That's an interesting
it
use
was
of
Pat
technology.
Boone. It was No More Mr. Nice Guy, and then
oh dear.
you take everything that shouldn't go in there, and then it becomes something else that's even more fucked up.
Yeah. So you're listening to a lot of the wub stuff.
Not really. I guess it's just that's just for fun. But I mean that's comedy. But
what else? I mean, what do you listen to when you're
stuff,
by
I listen
yourself?
to, obscure, I don't know. It depends. Either Steely Dan or obscure, Bedouin music.
There you go. That's a combination.
Sometimes back and forth. Yeah, mix them together.
Well, okay, Dino, I'm going to ask you the same question. What do you listen to?
I don't know. I listen to like cheesy dance music most of the time. And
Really?
Not like
You
Britney
like the
Spears or
electronic
anything
music
like
we
that.
talked about, yeah.
That stuff that you guys, you're like kryptonite.
What, the house? Yeah, well.
And
Yeah,
of course the old rock stuff, and then that's about it.
That's all right. There's nothing wrong with
right.
that.
I
So
was
you like
hanging out
Pink
with
Floyd?
Silvio Berlusconi.
Pink Floyd's one of my favorite bands of all time.
There you go, yeah. Pink Floyd, you gotta love that. Steve likes Pink Floyd too.
I always thought that Pink
I love
Floyd
them.
should come back, but fronted by Silvio Berlusconi, just for some reason.
What
That would
the
be like the
hell?
most messed up thing. Because he's kind of like the Italian ex-prime minister version of Sid Barrett at this point. He's like on the run, like something, and getting sued by everybody.
Somebody see if Ben is ready to set up his stuff, because we got a space for him now. While we ask some more questions to Dino here, and yeah, I know Steve has a question.
I have a question for
Chuck.
Chuck.
Yes. I'm sorry. I was busy talking over here.
Then that's all right. That's all right. I love the poetry. Now, what influenced? I mean, I love the collaboration and everything like that.
Well, actually, Brian and I have known each other for a couple of years, and can you guys hear me?
Let's put a mic. Let's
Yeah,
just go ahead
yeah.
and hold that up to him.
Brian and I have
hear
known
you.
each other for a couple of years, and I've enjoyed listening to him play. I first heard him play guitar, and he's an excellent guitarist. He's quite amazing. And we talked about getting together for quite a while, and we know just how it is. It takes a little while sometimes. And when he approached me to accompany his oud playing, I had no idea what I was getting into, and it's totally awesome. And I never have a clue what we're going to do before we start. And this is like, I think we've done now like 4 or 5 shows. This is the second one on the air, but we've done like 2 or I think we've done 3 other shows live, and we just go for it. And we had Sander Roscoe Wolf sit in on the Korg one time down in Long Beach. Now Dino, this is the first time I played with Dino. Brian and Dino have played together. I'm thrilled. It's fun, and I really like the fact that there is a combination of the fact that there are some things that are thought out beforehand. Like these guys had a couple of ideas that they were working on. I'm not improvising up there in that I'm like taking this off the top of my head. I've got a bunch of lyrics around, but I might do a cut and paste. I might do a whole poem. I might do some rhythmic thing. I'm developing this as we go, and I have no pretense to it other than just getting up there. This time I stood up, and that affected what we did as much as sitting down would have, because I didn't have a clue what I was going to do. And this is fun. This is a lot of fun. But I don't have anything like hyper important or particularly intellectual to say about it. It's a very visceral operation by the time you get here. Yeah.
I got it totally. It's all improv, actually. Oh my God. What would you recommend for someone like me? I'm looking for new direction.
Gee, Steve, I think that you're always, I mean, you surround yourself with new directions all the time, and I mean, all you have to do is put your pen to paper and you're in a new direction. You always are, Steve. So, just, drop, what would I say to anyone? Just drop the sensor and go. And then, when you write, right? But you already know that. So I'm not telling you anything you don't know.
All right. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Wow.
Hey, Steve, we'll just slide you this way a little bit, and then we can get Ben in here, because we're just setting up for the next. So did you have any other questions, Steve, for these guys?
Yeah, I have a question.
Have questions.
How do you slide this chair over?
Oh, yeah, I know. These things are tough. Let's move this chair. And then there's some room for this guy. Let's move this chair to here for now. Watch your back. So anyway, yeah. So I don't know. I really like those guys a lot, Steve. I'm really glad. I was really impressed with these guys, and it was a surprise to me that they hadn't even really played together, the 3 of them.
That's what amazes me.
That kind of
it's
blows
what you
my
could
mind.
Do.
Yeah. So did that blow your mind that they were doing improv?
That did. I look up to that because it's just something I look up to. I have to put a lot of thought into what I do, and I go through like contortions before I come out with a final piece.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, this is exciting because we got Ben setting up next to you here. Oscillator. Remember when Henry Barnes was in here and he was saying that was like the best name for a band ever?
Exactly.
Oscillator. He's like, Oscillator, that's the greatest name. And then he started to rattle off all this technical stuff, trying to figure out how Ben creates the sounds that he does. You'll hear in a minute, but, you know, I thought that was pretty interesting.
I think it was very interesting.
Then you had Mr. Trogatronics sitting across the room. They were both kind of going back and forth with the tech talk. I like that stuff. Does that go over your head, or does it like interest you, or what? When the people start talking about the gear.
I have to get out of first gear just to understand what's going on, man. It's both. It goes over my head, but I do find it interesting in a way. Things that I comprehend, I can respond to, but there's a lot I could always learn.
Why don't you step up to the mic, Chuck? Well, what'd you just say? I don't know what you just said.
I was just looking at all this gear, and it was making me horny. I'm like, holy shit, this is awesome.
We're all gearheads here, That's okay. We can talk about it openly. We're yeah. So specifically, whose gear are you talking about?
I was just looking at it all. I'm just soaking
I mean,
it all, and I don't even have a clue.
I'm jealous of your band members too. I mean, they've got skills that I could never even dream of
just
having.
Mad.
Yeah. What is your take on it?
That they haven't even scratched the surface of how they can actually interact and play together yet, and they're already just like rather mind blowing. It's just like I just.
That's true.
I'm speechless. We haven't even gotten into the studio yet. I mean, Brian and I did a couple of things improv in the studio.
Right.
That were more like complete poems from my point.
Mm-hmm.
But we haven't, the three of us have never played together. So,
never, huh?
Looking forward to more, that's for sure.
I really like I don't know how to...
Go ahead and step up to the mic, Randy. We got Randy Astronovas. If you're going to speak in here, you got to be near a mic.
I'm trying to think of the proper wording, but it probably doesn't matter. But just the flow of the words. It wasn't like you're just reading the words.
Yeah, there was like a rhythm that you felt, with those guys, and you start letting it kick in, and I suppose it's like any sort of music, and you gotta wait, you gotta let the groove happen, you gotta feel the groove happen, you have to make the groove happen a little bit. At the same time, you're letting it happen.
Organic, that's the word.
Yeah,
there you go.
See, I don't talk about this stuff, so I don't know how to talk about it.
Yeah, but you are a musician yourself, Chuck. I know
but
this.
I tend to think about it more than I talk about it. I can tell you that.
All right.
Yeah, no, it's a good thing. It wasn't just like a bunch of words on top of the, it was a whole.
Thank you.
Pre-made a whole. But now
Yeah, there you go.
Now we're gonna rock.
Yeah, but
So what do you guys have?
can
now?
I jump in too, Ben?
I mean-
I got some effects and I don't know.
This is an oscillator.
Okay.
Can I join in?
And his name is.
And this is.
We got Ben Wolcott in the studio
This
here.
is Ben Wilcott,
Uh,
and he'll be oscillating.
And then Jeremy.
a very good friend who's extremely talented. You may know him from To Live and Shave in L.A. What other projects? We'll ask him later.
Now, I mean, for those of us who don't know what oscillating would mean, I mean, could you go into more detail about that? I mean,
man.
it's like a right. You have a signal, and then you modify the signal through various types of like effects and.
But we're talking
Turn a lot of
technology
knobs
that's
and-
very old.
Yeah, I know.
You see.
Goes back to Moog and
That's how I heard about
everyone
it.
and the Buchla synth.
There you go. Yeah,
and
Buchla.
all those modular
It goes
synthesizers.
back to Edison.
That's right.
Yeah, well, I
It
hope
goes
so.
back to
Okay.
the first sine wave.
It goes back to the first lightning strike on the planet.
Something like that. But then some people decided to start plugging this shit into amps and like hit it like the MC5.
I love the Modi City 5.
I actually got thrown out of Wayne Kramer's dressing room once.
Wow.
Yes, why? Because that was our dressing room. I mean, that's the place we played all the time. It never occurred to us as we were going down to smoke some pot that there'd be bodyguards out front of it because he was still on probation for heroin. And we walked in, and 2 bodyguards threw us out of our own little pot smoking band dressing room at this bar. And so it was funny.
Poor guy.
Yeah. Yeah, he looked a little stressed out, just sitting there by himself
Not being able to get
in a freshly painted band room. Nothing's more depressing than a freshly painted band waiting room in a bar. You know, you can still see the graffiti underneath it, and it's just this half-ass white thing. And he's sitting there in a chair against the wall. I felt so bad for him. I wanted to offer him a bowl. I knew he was going to have problems with that. Anyway, that's my rant for the night.
When was this? When was this?
Hey, I have nothing against Wayne Kramer himself.
Oh man, I have free Wayne.
It was just a misunderstanding.
I got a free Wayne.
It was a great show, too.
Free Wayne Kramer button from like 77 days.
Nice.
Because he just gotten out of jail like when Punk hit.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, it depends on which time he was in jail.
Those guys are amazing, though. I mean, I have to say, you know.
No, his solo records are fucking.
I really
great.
love those guys.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean...
Kramer, man. Whatever. Well, we're not going to be doing none of that here. We got boxes that I just threw together. I don't know what they're going to do.
And whenever you want to